Welcome to the people. Hey guys, my name is Tapel. Welcome to the Regular People's Podcast. Well, today we have an interesting one. This is a little unusual. I'm shooting this at 2 a.m. in the morning. So I just watched Mohale on the record, and I know not a lot of us have SHOWMAX, so I just decided to do this, a mini rundown. I'm hoping that after you've watched this video, you won't have to use or rather create another email to try and swindle SHOWMAX. To be clear, SHOWMAX won't be swindled. But anyway, I have requested a special friend to give me that details so that I can watch this for you guys, so that I can provide you with a full rundown of what we have learned in the video. So I have my notes right here. I'm gonna keep looking here, but what is important, it's not me looking into the camera, it's me giving you the evidence. So obviously I cannot play it for copyright purposes, and anyone who plays this on a free platform like YouTube will get their channel reported or taken down. So this is paid for content. You cannot play it. Even showing this video might just this picture here might be a problem, but this is original work. I am not in any way playing the video, so I'm just gonna tell you guys what happened. So the video starts with Mohale driving to some, or rather, they're driving to the house where they conducted the interview. The interview is done by Aldrin Simpia, and Mohale is wearing all white. And it's so dramatic. There's this music that's playing in the background. And like I said, Mohale is wearing all white, including his posh shoes or whatever they are. And he comes into the house after, being dropped by a Mercedes Benz. And he gets into this nice house and he goes down the stairs and he's looking into the camera like this. And he eventually goes outside to meet Aldrin Simpiwa by the pool area. That's when they start having a conversation. So we learn a few things about Mohale's life in this video. We learn about his upbringing. I believe he was born in Soweto. His parents lived in Protea Lands. We learn all of that. He has two siblings, two girls. I forgot their names. Their names are not exactly important. And Mohale grew up in a traditional family, a mom and a dad. So what I learned from the SHOWMAX special, or whatever I should call it, is that Mohale, how he got his name. So Mohale, I believe, is the middle child. He has an older sister and a younger sister. But before Mohale was actually born, it appears that the parents lost two other kids. So that's why they decided to call him Mohale. He is the hero. He's the one who made it. So that's one of the things that I learned about him watching this documentary, which I thought it was interesting and I thought I should share it with you guys. So he grew up obviously in a family where they believe in education is the key to success. His mom and dad are both from the law faculty. They all have background in law. And we learn in this series that Mohale's dad is actually working on his master's in law. So that's one of the things that we learned about. I mean, the personal story was a nice touch, It kind of like humanizes him, show us where he's from. Because every time you hear about Mohale, he's usually talked about as someone who swindled Somizi, someone who is trying to do this and this. But I think it was important for them to give that background story. And actually in the special, they show his family. They talk about him, his mom talks about him. And I think for me what stood out was when Mohale's mom said, I pray for him every day. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is, I always pray for my son. And I think one of the things that she said she was praying for is that Mohale finishes his degree. So that was one of the things that I noted. So the special proceeds from then were now, obviously at some point they have to move from talking about his upbringing and his childhood, and then now to obviously the current events, how they started. They start explaining how Mohale and Somizi met. So How Mohale and Somizi met is that they met at a book signing. This was in 2017. So according to Mohale's account, his cousin bought him a book. I don't know if it was for a celebration or a birthday or whatever, but it was a present. And the book was Somizi's book. And then the cousin was actually on his way or was planning to come to Johannesburg to Somizi's book signing. So that's when Mohale and his cousin decided to go to a book signing. They stand in a line to try and get their Somizi book signed. So when that happens, according to Mohale, Somizi keeps pointing at him while he's standing on the queue with his pen. So according to Mohale, he answers a call. And when he answers a call, it's time for the cousin to get his book signed. But Mohale is not there at that point. Somizi then refuses to sign the book up until Mohale comes back. So obviously we can presume from now that Mohale was a fan of Somizi. But Mohale actually in the special, he denies that he was a fan. He said, I knew about him. I understood what he stood for, but I wasn't a fan. I knew about him. Obviously, he was in Sarafina and he's always on TV. That's how I known him. I wasn't his fan. But then he comes back and then he signs the cousin's book. So that's how they met. So obviously, the day that they met, no numbers were exchanged, but obviously I believe Somizi knew Mohale's social media details as a result of that meeting. So a few months later or a few weeks later, Somizi slides on Mohale's DMs and he actually mixes a picture of them together and said, this is how we're gonna look at our marriage, at our wedding, which I think was a little odd. I mean, imagine meeting someone once and you have already thought this entire process through. You guys are gonna date, you're gonna get engaged, and this is how the marriage is gonna look like. That was a little strange to me, how Somizi kind of like approached Mohale. But I guess, he's showing his intentions. He's showing that he's serious. He wants to do something more than just dating with him. He actually wants to have a relationship with him. So that was a little interesting for me to see. So that happens. And then the first time Mohale and Somizi go on a date, in fact, they go on a date with 6 other people, his friends, essentially. So their date was not our traditional date where you go meet, you talk. No, it was nothing like that. It was right after the recording of Idols. Somizi and 6 of his friends went on to meet Mohale. He didn't really say where or what was the situation around the meeting, but it wasn't our traditional first date, as you can already see. Then the second time they met, also it was not exactly traditional because they met in a flight to, I believe, Swaziland. That was their next day. Their second day, they were already traveling together. I mean, relationship was moving at 120 kilometers an hour. I mean, to be fair, he was moving at 200 kilometers an hour because, as we know now, 5 months later, there was talk of an engagement, and this is made clear by Mohale on the special. But how the events leading up to that engagement were, I mean, for lack of a better word, bizarre. Because how it happened is that the engagement happened in Amsterdam, and for those who have seen their wedding special on SHOWMAX will tell you how the wedding went. I unfortunately have not watched it, but in the special they show the engagement. It's Somizi and his friends and Mohale going to Amsterdam. That's where the engagement happened. But what was interesting about this engagement, or rather bizarre, honestly, this was extremely bizarre. Somizi was not just meeting Mohale. Somizi was meeting another guy that he had been talking to online for a number of years and had actually been entertaining a possible relationship with this guy. And this guy, for whatever reason, was part of this trip. I don't know if he stays in Amsterdam or he was part of his. He goes by the name Orlando. Mohale was 22 years old when this engagement happened, and Somizi was 24 years older than him. So Somizi was, I guess, 46 when this happened. So, to describe the bizarre incident, you can even see it on the special. Mohale is extremely comfortable about how cozy Orlando and Somizi is. But later on, when Mohale is questioning everything, Somizi tells him that this guy had been entertaining with him, and we had actually been entertaining a possible relationship between me and him. But obviously, since you are my person now, that's not going to happen. But what becomes more bizarre is that days after the engagement, Somizi approaches Mohale and say, how do you feel about threesomes? So threesomes, having sex with 3 people, that's what they are. And Mohale is like, and Somizi comes out straight and says, how would you feel about having sex with Orlando and myself? So Mohale obviously was taken aback and said, I've never thought about it. I don't think I should do it. And according to him, it didn't happen. He never participated in such a situation. So obviously, fast forward, the engagement, there's planning of the wedding that happened, I believe, a couple of months after the marriage, rather after the proposal in Amsterdam. The marriage, as we know, it was an opulent event. It was glamour on glamour on glamour. It was broadcasted. The wedding was broadcasted, like I said, on SHOWMAX. And in fact, Somizi and Mohale obviously cut a deal with SHOWMAX to have exclusive rights to their wedding, and that will obviously, that information will come up later on when we talk about the divorce. But obviously the marriage proceeds, they are happy, they move obviously in together in Somizi's house, but obviously they start having problems. But Mohale in the special, he indicates that Somizi is controlling. And he indicates that, in fact, Somizi just wanted him to be a house husband, and he never really wanted him to work. So, in fact, he speaks of a specific incident whereby he had a gig at Durban and found Somizi waiting for him in the house, and Somizi started questioning where he's coming from. When he tried to explain where he was coming from, Somizi brutally attacked him. And Somizi actually looked at him and said, I am going to destroy this pretty face, because this pretty face is the one that's causing us problems. But Mohale, according to him, he was able to escape from that situation, get into his car, and he left, contacted his doctor friend to come and look at his injuries. So that was one of the incidents that Mohale pointed out. But obviously, according to him, the attack and the abuse and the physical abuse had been happening throughout the relationship, and really it was mostly caused by Mohale's attempt to get into the entertainment industry. So according to Mohale, Somizi wanted someone who was not working in the industry. But what is also troublesome about the whole entire story is that Mohale had a 9-to-5 job, but the 9-to-5 job couldn't accommodate his lifestyle with Somizi. Somizi would want them to go out and go on holiday. Mohale wouldn't have leave days because he would have exhausted them. So as a result, Somizi told Mohale to quit his 9-to-5 job, and so Mohale was unemployed for a while, and he started getting into this influencing space and trying to, make a name for himself, try to make moves for himself. But Somizi did not like that, and as a result, this obviously caused a rift between the two, and this has resulted in obviously allegations of abuse and allegations of being controlling. I mean, Mohale also pointed out an incident that happened between him and Somizi, where in fact Somizi drove him out of the road with his car. So these were very obviously dangerous situations, and also just appalling situations that Mohale described in this SHOWMAX special. So fast forward, obviously, the situation Mohale couldn't stand the situation anymore, and this is what led now to the separation or the supposed divorce. This is what now led to Somizi's friends and his family started bashing Mohale on living the dream. I mean, Vusinova said he didn't like Mohale. I believe there was an episode where Palesa and Somizi's daughter also talked ill of Mohale about whatever, so there were a lot of things, obviously, leading up to the divorce, or rather the divorce that's still gonna happen, where now you can see that there was a consolidation now. The people who Somizi's friends as well as Somizi's family started becoming on his corner. They started doing this whole entire bashing of Mohale, and he described it and in fact expressed shock at some of the things that were happening, especially with Vusinova, because he said Vusinova, he had not even interacted with Vusinova like that, and the only time he really interacted was when Vusinova was apologizing for Somizi's appalling actions. So that's some of the things that happened and I know I'm reciting what Mohale said, and I believe I'm hoping I'll be able to add commentary at the end. But the thing that I really wanted to get to was now the divorce, where Somizi had made all these allegations on the living the dream with Somizi, his reality TV show on BSTV, I believe it was on Mzansi Magic. Somizi had made allegations that Mohale wants 50%, but in fact in the special they show that Mohale never ever asked for the 50%. Mohale in fact asked for specific things. He asked for his clothes, he's asked for his car that Somizi bashed. Remember that incident that I told you about where Somizi drove Mohale out, the car obviously got totaled, and also he wanted the exclusive wedding deal money. So this is where now it gets interesting. So according to Mohale, they negotiated with SHOWMAX to get 1.5 million for the exclusive rights of the wedding. So they're gonna share that money between themselves. But Mohale, remember the wedding happened, I believe, back in 2018 or 19, somewhere there. I believe 18. But Mohale has not yet received the money because the production company still has access to, still has, is still the custodian of that money. And that's all he's asking for. So according to him, he's not asking for 50%. And in fact, we've done a video on this, and we think he's entitled to 50%, and he probably should be asking for it. Mohale, in fact, in his letter, straight out said, I don't want your pensions, I don't want your investments, I don't want your cars, I don't want your houses. All I want are three things: my car, I want clothes, my clothing, and any of my personal belongings, and the wedding deal money that they had with SHOWMAX. So I mean, this was obviously an interesting thing to see. Firstly, I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about Mohale's demeanor. He looked calm. He answered all the questions. He didn't dodge any questions. For me, he looked very credible. Not once did I feel like he was trying to make up something, trying to think about something. It's as if, if he got the questions and he rehearsed. That's obviously a possibility. But he looked very calm, and he, in my opinion, addressed every question that Aldrin had asked. I mean, I remember one time Aldrin asked him, why didn't you press charges? I mean, he answered so honestly. He was not trying to look deceptive. But obviously, I'm not a body language expert, or I do not try to pretend like I know exactly what happened, because obviously, this is his account, and obviously other people might have different accounts of what happened. But I just wanted to make that quick video for you guys and just tell me what you guys think of this situation and this SHOWMAX. I'll put obviously the link in the description so that you can watch it for yourself. But I thought I should just do a quick rundown of what I saw, and just for anyone who's not gonna be able to go on SHOWMAX and get the special, this is everything that was talked about. But if you want to get more, you can get it on SHOWMAX. But please comment, share this, and I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel and help us grow. This has been your boy Thapelo. Thank you very much.